Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about getting fired up to lose weight. Right? The first step in actually losing weight is getting fired up, getting motivated, rip roaring, ready to just take it on. And I think this is a area that a lot of people overlook, and I think they overlook it because they just assume that they're really motivated, and you can't assume that. Okay, just because you think about weight loss all day long doesn't mean you're really fired up and motivated. And I feel pretty much without exception that the first step in truly changing your weight is to get motivated, truly motivated. Right. So we're going to start there. That right now, at this point, if you have not, if you're actively not losing weight right now, I'm going to say simply it's because you're not motivated to lose weight, which does not mean that you're not motivated. Okay. You do want to lose weight, but you want to keep eating and living the way you're living more than you want to lose weight. Okay. That's probably where you're at right now. And so the first thing you got to do is get yourself really fired up to lose weight. You can't just assume because you think about it all the time and you really would love to be thinner and wear those clothes you want to wear and look better in pictures. Just because you want all the things doesn't really mean you're motivated. So this is really important, okay? Because this is where a lot of people trip themselves up. You know, people assume that they're really motivated to lose weight. And then what usually has to happen is some real pain-based event has to happen, right? Meaning you step on the scale, you see a picture of yourself, someone says something rude to you, you got a doctor's appointment coming up, your big clothes don't fit anymore. Something big happens and you get so upset and you say, that's it, I'm going to do it. You jump into some diet plan and try and start losing weight. But that's not real proper motivation. That's just getting really emotional and making a decision from that place. So that's not true motivation. True motivation is the motivation you have, to take care of your kids, to get up out of bed and go to work every day. Right. That's real motivation. And it's not this rah stuff and it's not this real deep pain. It's just the way you think about it. The way you think about work, for example, the way you think about your kids is you're going to do it because you value it and the things you get out of it. And if you don't do it, you really don't want that consequence. Okay. So a lot of times what motivation has to do with more than just what you want is really the avoidance of pain and the experience of pleasure. Okay. So again, in Program Yourself Thin, we have a whole section on this. So it's hard to summarize all that in just a few minutes here, but I want to give you kind of the overview of it. And the first step really is to become aware of your motivation, right? So almost have some meta awareness of how motivated am I? On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated am I to lose weight? Which doesn't mean, again, there's a difference between saying, how much would I like to wake up tomorrow at my goal weight? Well, that's a 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, no doubt. Okay. The motivation to lose weight really has to look at both sides of the equation. Of course, you want the result. Of course, you want to wake up tomorrow at your goal weight. Of course, you want to lose the weight. Like that's 100 out of 100. No one's questioning that. But what we got to take into account is how much are you willing to do to make that happen? That's the magic question. Okay. Yeah, of course you want to lose weight. Of course you want to wear your clothes. Of course you want all that stuff, obviously. But you've wanted those things for your whole life. Has that turned into weight loss? Probably not. Okay. So hopefully that's proof to you that that's not enough. Right. And that, again, where I really want you to get to is to recognize, no, you're not really motivated. Because if you were really motivated, you'd probably be losing weight. Like, honestly. Okay. And this is really important to understand. I know it could sting a little bit, but you're better off because there's nothing worse than thinking that you're 100 out of 100 motivated. You'll do anything to lose weight and have done everything to lose weight and nothing's happening. No matter what I do, I can't lose weight. That's never true. I've never seen that be true. Literally, not even once. So you got to be careful with that because that way of thinking is a very, very powerless way of thinking, right? When you start saying, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight, again, that's really not helpful. And so again, it rarely, in my experience, I've never seen it be that someone can't lose weight. It's that they're not really motivated to lose weight. So the first step in getting motivated to lose weight is to realize that you're probably not motivated right now. Okay. So again, we need contrast. We need to recognize where we're going with all this. All right. So how do you get motivated? I think you need to go to the deeper reasons. Okay. So again, you have your entire weight loss career been focusing on wanting to look better. You want to look better. And that's your main motivation to lose weight. And again, I just ask you to judge it honestly, right? I know you think it should be enough, but has it been enough? Are you really doing everything you can to make it happen? And the answer is probably no. Okay. So, how do we get to a place where we're actually truly, genuinely motivated, fired up to master our weight, get it under control? Okay. We need to get to deeper reasons. And the deeper reasons really revolve around avoiding pain, gaining pleasure. But the pain and pleasure that we're looking to get really are less about the external stuff. So wanting to look better is what we call an extrinsic motivator, right? It's extrinsic because for you to look better, you don't just want to look better. You want to look better so other people respond to that. You see what I mean? So that's what an extrinsic motivator is. It's something that really requires other people to validate the change that you've made. Okay. And that is the lowest in terms of motivational quality. That's the lowest form of motivation. Okay. So the highest form of motivation is intrinsic motivation. And this is where you start to get into more the motivation you have to take care of your kids, to, be a good partner, to go to work every day. Okay. Why do you do those things? Because again, even if if all of a sudden you're the only person on the planet, well, it's a little different, but all of a sudden, if like no one's going to say anything, you're still going to work because you want food, you want shelter, you want to support yourself and people in your life. And that's such a deep desire. That's such a valuable thing to you that you are way more motivated. Because again, I mean, how many times do you lay in bed when you wake up in the morning and just wish you could sleep all day? Okay. But you always get up. Why? Because in your mind, you might flash, well, I won't have a paycheck coming in. I won't be able to live here. I won't be able to eat, right? So these go right to these intrinsic motivators that are very motivating. So what we want to start doing to really get motivated with your weight is to start focusing on these intrinsic motivators. Your lifespan, your quality of life while you're here, what matters to you, right? The adventures you could go on, the health that you would experience, the day-to-day emotional reality that you would have at your goal weight, in control of it. You start focusing on the inner pieces that have nothing to do with other people. So, oh my God, look how much weight you lost, right? That stuff's fun. I'm not saying that don't enjoy that. We're going to use those too. You understand? But my point to you is that that's not enough. If those extrinsic motivators were enough, you would have already been losing weight. And you're not. So we need to add more to the motivation pile. And the part that's usually overlooked when it comes to weight loss is these intrinsic motivators. Okay. And one of the best examples of like a pure intrinsic motivation is that feeling you get when you put a piece of a puzzle into a puzzle, right? Like no one cares. And if no one saw, it's just, there's that little good feeling you get. You know what I mean? When you put that piece, it's like, oh, that it just feels good. Right. And so these are the things we're looking for. And so for me, how it shows up, I'll give you an example. So for me, beyond the weight, like I love being able to change my behavior. I love when I follow through on a goal I had, or follow through on a new habit I want to install. When I start drinking my water regularly, I love that I did that. And I love the benefits I'm getting from it. My mind feels clear. My body feels more comfortable. All of these things, And so I think it's really important that, we look for these deeper motivations, and they're right there. The thing is, you've been trained by the diet industry to just think about extrinsic motivators, right? Every single diet ad is a before and after picture, so you're trained your whole life to think about weight loss as an aesthetic thing, how you look on the outside. But what I want you to focus on is how you feel on the inside. And it comes in both ways. The pain of living with the weight, the pain of constantly thinking about losing weight, the pain of constantly thinking about food, the pain of constantly experiencing the feelings that come from being overweight and out of control. Right? These become your reality. And when you start to reflect on this level, right, we start to naturally kick into this motivation that wants to get away from that. And we start to craft a reality of a future where we get to experience a sense of freedom, a sense of adventure, a sense of success, a sense of energy, happiness. And again, you fill it in with whatever's important to you. Everyone's different, right? But you have to go deeper into why you want to do this. If I was going to sit here and talk about why I'm at my goal weight, I'm talking for days. I mean, I have a lot of reasons why I want to do this. And if everyone on the planet disappeared tomorrow, I still want to live and eat and look this way. You know what I mean? Because it's about how I feel moment to moment, day to day. How do I feel my best? How do I be my best? That's how I think of it. And to kind of just shortcut this process a little bit for you, basically want to take weight loss rapid in personal development. So we don't want to just focus on weight. We really want to focus on how we can be the best version of ourselves possible. And you can see as soon as you start framing it that way, you start to almost naturally bring these intrinsic motivations in. Because who are you at your best? Imagine you at your best. And it's not a visual thing. You see what I'm saying? That's a piece of it, right? When you look good and you feel good, and you're wearing the clothes you want, all that stuff, it's true. Okay. But you already know all that stuff, right? The part you've pretty much neglected is paying attention to the mindset, the emotions, the energy you experience moment to moment, living in an overweight body and living in a body that you're really happy with. Okay. And which isn't to say you can't be overweight, by the way, again, because, if we're going strictly, I think what most people do is go by the BMI chart. And there's plenty of studies at this point to show that even in the overweight range, you can be just as healthy as someone in the normal weight range. So then it just becomes a personal preference. But I'm speaking for you personally. When you don't feel good about yourself and your body, it's a different quality of life. You're a different version of yourself. You're showing up into your life differently when you're unhappy with how you look, how you feel, and all that stuff, versus when you're in control, when you're eating, living, in a way that makes you look, feel, and be the person you want to be. You see? So this is a way to start making this a bigger process than just the scale, the size, of you and all the rest of it. That actually strips a lot of motivation out of it, And so, again, it's like you're not motivated to go to work just because you want to, buy fancy clothes. I mean, that may be a part of it, but the deeper motivation to want to go to work is that you want to pay for where you live, the food, the basics, And so as you start making weight about the basics, your lifespan, your quality of life, your emotional health, your energy, as you start making about those and you start focusing on those, you're going to find that you tap into much deeper motivation. All right. So start thinking about who you want to be. Who's the best version of you? And you've got to take some time to specifically think about this. So it's not just about a number on a scale or a size clothes you're wearing, but it's you being energized. It's you being more emotionally balanced. And then imagining how that version of you influences your life. If you show up in your life as the best version of you possible, how does that impact your closest relationships? Your most important relationships? If all of a sudden you're at the exact weight you want to be, you feel energized, you feel happy, you feel good about yourself, how does that impact the most important relationships in your life? Take some time and think about that, right? How does it influence your work? How do you at work show up and produce and get compensated when you are at your best? Again, not just how you look, but literally who you are, thinking clearer, being more focused, having more momentum, having more energy. How do you show up at work, and what impact does that have on you? Right? And on and on. You go through all the important things in your life and imagine those things from the perspective of you being at your best. Hobbies, relationships, work, things you like to do are important to you. How do you show up for those things when you're at your best? And that is when you start digging into a deeper motivation. So take some time and think about this. If you want some support with this process, click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com and go get the free hypnosis session. And yeah, that'll all help you out. And if you have any questions about weight, feel free to ask them, because that's what I'm here to do. Help you out, answer any questions you got. Any weight loss questions are welcome. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about this. Deb says, I tapped myself out of the video. Oh, no. Thanks for liking all that stuff, Deb. Never ever says, love your content. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I would like to say that I like to think my content is a bit different. When it comes to weight, I like to come at it from a different angle. And I mean, that's intentional. I would say, like I'm a NLP, neuro-linguistic programming trainer, and a big part of NLP, or one of the big presuppositions we have, is that if something doesn't work, do something else. And we really need to remind ourselves of that, as humans, because we tend to just kind of do the same thing. And when it doesn't work, we just double down on that same thing. And it certainly couldn't be any more evident than when you look at weight and weight loss. And most people have been struggling with their own weight for a long time. And yet they do the exact same process, right? How many times have you tried Weight Watchers or keto or intermittent fasting or whatever plan? Most people kind of have a plan they gravitate towards, and they will follow and try doing that plan again, 10, 20, 100 times, right? Even though it's not working, it doesn't stop them. They'll just keep going, So what I do here, and I mean, really, it's the cornerstone of everything I do with Program Yourself Thin, is I typically try and come at things from a different angle. And that starts even with what the goal is. My goal is not for you to lose weight. That's the first shift I suggest you make. Stop fixating on losing weight and start focusing on living at your goal weight. They're two totally different things, Joanne says, I get very motivated intrinsically, then somehow lose it. That can happen. I hear what you're saying there. And so the good news is if you're able to get yourself motivated intrinsically, that's great. The other piece, and I talk about this a lot in my coaching group, we were literally talking about this yesterday, is that so much of change is literally just remembering. So we were talking about, we started with kind of a goal of, they're marching in place while they brush their teeth in the morning and at night, just get their heart rate up. Just kind of a simple thing to kind of start with. And, they maybe have been at it for like a month or so. And, I was saying to him, like, the first thing you got to do, the first thing is the phase of remembering, and, it's funny. Like, I'll give you an example. I was thinking this after I had that conversation yesterday about remembering. I was playing guitar and I noticed this a lot. Like, I will learn a song and I'll kind of learn it and I'll kind of get it. And I'm like, okay, I kind of got it. And I'll kind of have it. And then it'll kind of disappear. And then if I keep practicing, then it comes back. It may disappear again, but pretty much there's one time where it kind of disappears. Like, what the hell? I don't understand it. So again, there's a thing, I believe his name is Charles, but it was Ebbinghaus. He talked about the forgetting curve. And I think it's really interesting when you understand, like, I'm going to go down loops here, but if we take a step back and think about being a human, your brain works in a certain way. And when you learn new information, the process of learning it, most people I don't think really understand. Okay. And so I think a lot of people make the assumption that if something's important to me, I really want to lose weight, I'm intrinsically motivated, I'm ready to go. They think that because it's important to them, because they feel fired up at that moment, that they're now just going to remember it. And that's just not how your mind works. You have to reinforce things, because what I see so much of, it's not even just weight loss. Because again, listen, there's no fucking weight loss. There's really no such thing as weight loss. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to come out and say it. There really is no such thing as weight loss in the sense that you can't lose weight. You can't lose weight, right? You can't lose weight today. What are you going to do? How are you going to lose weight today? You can't, right? Short of chopping a limb off, you can't just lose weight. What you can do is you can make different eating choices, different lifestyle choices. And over time, through some magical process that you have no control over, the weight goes down. So again, this is cause and effect. And it's important that we stay fixated on the cause piece of it, right? Not the effect piece of it, because the cause is where we have the power, right? So if Joanne says I get very motivated intrinsically, then somehow lose it, maintaining is the problem. Yes, maintaining is always the problem, folks, for you dieters. If you're a dieter, maintenance is absolutely a problem. Why would that be? Why would it be, though? I don't know if everyone thinks about this. I think about it every day. First off, with diets have nothing to do with maintenance. Nothing to do with maintenance. No, they don't. Because when you're going on a diet, your entire fixation and focus is on losing weight, getting to your goal weight. That's all of your focus. I talk to people every day on diets who are actively losing weight. And I say, what are you going to do when you get to your goal weight? Well, I'll figure it out then. No, you won't. It's estimated 85 to 98% of dieters that lose weight on a diet put it back on. So no, you probably won't figure it out. And why won't you figure it out? I will tell you why. Because never as a dieter are you learning how to live as a thin, healthy person. That's never your goal. You are never learning how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. You're looking to drastically change your behavior so that you lose weight quickly. And what happens is most dieters trade the excitement and pleasure of the food for the excitement and pleasure of the scale going down. And it's an even Steven trade until they get to their goal weight. And now what's exciting and motivating for you? What are you looking forward to now? That's one big problem. The second problem is that you right now, if you're overweight and have been for a little while, you have an overweight mindset. Think about this for a second. This is really, really important. You have an overweight mindset, meaning if you just live your life, you don't think about dieting, food, exercise, you just living your life, doing your stuff, you're overweight. The way you eat, what you eat, how you live, you're overweight. That's your mindset. Your normal, natural setting at this point is the way you think, live, eat, you're overweight. So then what you do is go on a diet. A diet is not a mindset. You have to understand, diet is not a mindset on its own. It's an anti-mindset, meaning what it does is it says, okay, here's my natural, normal, overweight mindset, how I normally think about things, how I behave around food, all this stuff here. But now I'm going to go on a diet, which is an anti-mindset, which basically just keeps saying no. This is, oh, let's have a donut. No, let's have this. No, let's do this. No, 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 no. And you know yourself right down to your goal weight, best case scenario. But now we got a big problem. You've got an overweight mindset still, and you've got a diet mindset, and you can't keep dieting. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You have to think about this if you care about maintenance at all. Because I can tell you, I don't know, maybe I'm fortunate on the planet Earth. I probably am the top 0.1000001% of the population who have talked to the most people, dieters, that have gotten to their goal weight. And what do you think a dieter says when they get to their goal weight? You've all been there. You've all gotten close enough to your goal weight or dieting, right? What do you think a dieter who gets to their goal weight is thinking and feeling? Think they're fired up, excited, just ready to take on the world, just feeling like, you know, on top of the world, or what? Because that's not what I see. Most dieters I see that get to their goal weight, the emotion they're feeling is terror. They're terrified. Terrified of what? You know what? That they're going to put the weight back on. It's just crazy. Dieters flip from one mantra, I just want to lose the weight. I just want to lose the weight. I just want to lose 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 weight. Then they lose the weight. And then all of a sudden it's like, I hope I don't put the weight back on. Oh shit. I don't want to put the weight back on. I don't want to put the weight back on. I don't want to put the weight back on. You've all felt it. Right? So again, if you take a step back and look at this, and this is the important thing, you know, and the main thing I'm here to tell you is that the main reason you're struggling with your weight is because you've never learned how to think like a thin, healthy person. You've never been shown a real good strategy for how to manage your weight long-term. You know, as I like to say, yeah, Karen, right? Karen says, now I can eat again. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for being honest, Karen. Yes. That's what dieters say, right? Because dieting let's just take a step back. I got to do this every day to explain it for anyone that's new here. Dieting is not meant to help you live at your goal weight. Dieting is a branch of the food companies, first off. Okay. So dieting, it's wolves in sheep's clothing. Okay. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company owns Onions, Pretzels, and Cinnabon. Slim Fast is owned by the same company owns Ben & Jerry's ice cream. These companies do not want you to stop eating their foods for good and be thin and healthy, eating healthy, natural foods for the rest of your life. There's no part of them that wants them to do that. So dieting is a psychological operation to basically get you trapped in a diet hamster wheel. It's a recurring business model. So it makes its money off of people coming back over and over and over again. And it never really changes your behavior anyways. So you keep eating the same bullshit stuff anyhow. So they get you coming and going. And you know this. Okay. And so what dieting, you have literally been brainwashed, conditioned by the diet industry to think like a dieter. And this is the core reason you're so stuck. And one of the big reasons why dieting doesn't work is because it's philosophically broken, right? So I don't want to talk about the nutritional philosophies of diets. I don't give a shit if you want to do keto, vegan, carnivore, Mediterranean, pick any diet you want. Doesn't matter, because the mindset of any of diet you're going to pick is going to be the same. Isn't that crazy? Think about this for a second. This is really, I think, profound stuff. That it doesn't matter if you want to do keto or count your points or, you know, intermittent fast. It doesn't matter what you want to do, because you're going to approach it the exact same way. What makes all diets the same is your mindset. Because how are you going to start your keto plan? You're going to start on a Monday 100%. How are you going to start your intermittent fasting plan? 100% on Monday. How are you going to start your vegan plan? 100% on Monday. And you're going to jump into it 100%, and you're going to overwhelm yourself. And so what's happened is the context in which you think about weight loss is completely broken. And I will prove it to you with this simple analogy, that with dieting, you are basically trying to sprint a marathon. right? It's like you've signed up for a marathon and the gun's about to go off and you're like, you know what? I got the plans. I'm going to sprint this whole race and I'm going to beat everyone. And the gun goes off and you start sprinting. And for the first eighth of the mile, you're way ahead of everyone. And you're like, holy shit, this is working. Oh my God, I'm winning. And then all of a sudden, the next eighth of a mile, you run out of gas and you collapse and you don't go any further. Does that make sense? Right now, the way human brain is, it's kind of crazy, is because the human brain will say, "Oh, well, next time the marathon, I'm gonna sprint the whole way. I gotta want it more. I'm more motivated now. So this time I'm here, I'm really gonna sprint through it." No, you're not. No, you're not gonna sprint through it. You can't. And every time you start a diet, you jump into it 100%, changing all of your eating, changing everything all at once. And you can force yourself to do that for a little while, but you always end up going back to what? Your normal, natural way of being. So programming yourself then is different because we strategically are aiming at changing your normal natural. So in programming yourself, then we call it changing your subconscious programming, right? Because when you learn something, it goes in your subconscious mind and now you just do it automatically, right? You did it with reading and writing, using a computer mouse, driving a car, riding a bike, a million other things that you've learned. When you first had to do it, it was very kind of slow and painstaking. You're thinking about understanding, practicing, all the rest of it. But as you keep practicing, eventually, somehow it goes into some part of your brain and now you just do it automatically, smoothly, easily, naturally, without thinking. And guess what else is running automatically? Your eating behaviors. You have the same eating patterns that are showing up week after week. And that is what's keeping your weight at the same level. And so I believe you have to reprogram your subconscious mind. So the new behaviors that keep you thin and healthy, so that they run automatically, so that you don't have to fixate on them like a dieter, so that you can live your life and trust your intuitions, trust your behavior patterns to do the right thing. And so that's kind of the goal, and I think it's just a much more evolved way, because if you understand anything about your brain and how it works, dieting is absolutely goofy. Again, it's the idea that if you're going to play a piano, the way you play the piano, you can play 8 hours a day. If you're serious, you got to play 8 hours a day. So, okay, I'm serious. I want to play. And you play for 8 hours a day. The next day you wake up, you can't move your fingers. You hate the piano. Can't get yourself, your back hurts. Everything hurts. You can't even get yourself to sit at it. That in essence is what you're doing to yourself with the weight loss. You're way overwhelming yourself, every time. And again, that's the amazing, if you can put your x-ray glasses on and stop getting tricked by the specific nutritional philosophy, right? Because every diet's always got some little, don't eat for 16 hours, or don't eat carbs, or don't eat fat, don't do this. It's always the one little thing. But at the end of the day, they're always the same because you're approaching it exactly the same way, which is why this is the crazy part. Every single diet sucks. There's not one diet over 100 years. There's not one diet that rises to the top of the list of being most effective. Not one. Not in the long term, right? Now, I'm not talking about, I don't give a shit. Who cares how much weight you lose in a week or a month? Who gives a fuck? If you can't stick with it, who cares? Who cares? Right? So I don't give a shit. I will almost 5 more pounds on keto. I don't care. What I want to know is where are you at next year, 5 years from now? That's what I'm interested in. And when you look at that time frame with all the diets, every diet that's ever been invented, they all suck and none of them work. Why? How can it be? Because the mindset's always the same, that you're going to go into this thing and completely change it in one day. No, you're not. No, you're not. I know you think you are, but you're not. You haven't. You can't now, and you're not going to in the future. So how's about that? Anyways, yes, you're close. Herman Ebenhouse, yes, was the forgetting curve guy. Yes. Herman. What did I say? Is Charles? But that's interesting stuff. Again, the forgetting curve is really interesting because, again, I believe if you're going to have any chance in hell of actually living at your goal weight for the rest of your life, I think you got to understand how your mind works a little bit. And I think if you don't know how your mind works at all, I think you're just winging it, just hoping, and you're getting the results that prove it. Again, I'm not blaming you, by the way. There's no question in the world that you can lose weight. I do this shit every day. I've been doing this professionally for 20 years. Every client comes to me, 99% of my clients are women over the age of 45 to 70. They're smart, they're action-oriented, they're overthinkers, they're type A-ish, perfectionist type people. That's my client base, okay? And I watch them come and say, "Oh, Jim, I've tried everything. Nothing's working. It's menopausal and this and that." And then we work together and they start losing weight. So, I mean, like, I watch it over and over and over again. People, oh, I've never lost weight. I've never been able to do it. It's been 60 years being overweight. And we always change it because when you understand how your mind works and when you strategically and systematically start to change how you think, live, and eat into that of a thin, healthy person, you start getting completely different results. That is not what you're doing. You're winging it. You're cramming for a test. Your diets are get rich quick schemes. You're following get rich quick schemes. You know, and you're wondering why it's not working. It's not meant to work. It's meant to take your money. Get rich quick schemes aren't meant to enrich the people that buy the courses. They're meant to enrich the people that make the courses. The diets are not, I mean, am I crazy? You don't know anyone. Maybe you know one person that's lost weight on a diet and kept it off for over 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, no one's losing weight on a diet. That's why the GLP-1s are so off the charts, you know? Now I can eat again. Yeah, that's so true, Karen. Yeah, Lee says you're right. I am right. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I am right. Yeah, this is what I do. And the big difference between me and literally, and again, I'm trying to delusions of grandeur here. I am a grounded, stable person. I don't want to sound like I'm crazy. But what makes me different with weight is that I come at it from a completely different angle. I would say my best estimate is 99.9% of people I see talking about weight are talking about getting to your goal weight. And when you focus on getting to your goal weight, what you don't realize is you're thinking about it temporarily. So everyone in the weight loss world pretty much is talking about getting to your goal weight. I'm talking about living at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. And that's the goal that I promise my clients. Okay. So I think it's really important. I think it's really, really important that you realize that distinction and difference. All right. Because once you start focusing on living at your goal weight, it's almost curative, you know, because the second you start focusing on how can I get to my goal weight and live there for the rest of my life on your autopilot, keto, you know, all these stupid ideas start to just seem, they reveal themselves to be as fucking stupid as they are. I love making fun of it. I love making fun of keto, but I hate all the diets the same. I mean, like in the set, no, I don't. I hate all diets the same because of the mindset piece. I definitely hate a lot of diets a lot more because they're just silly, goofy stuff. And keto's at the top of the list, folks. Keto is at the top of the list. I don't care if you lost 30 pounds on keto in 3 months. I don't care about that. I want to know what the next 3 months brought. The next year brought. What's up, G? Gia says, how does one stay motivated when the data shows most people that lose significant weight gain it back? Okay, that's a great question. I love that question so much. It's my favorite question in the world. This is where I do start to feel like a crazy person because I read really, really smart people, like PhD level stuff that study this shit all forever. But what are they studying? They're studying people that diet and have no idea how to influence their mindset, lifestyle, or eating. They study these people who have been dieting, who lose weight and then put it back on. And they base all their data and studies around these people. And so, yes, most people are going to lose weight and put it back on because they're dieting. As a matter of fact, if you ask 1,000 Americans how to lose weight, what are you going to hear? You're going to hear dieting, injection, surgery. You're never going to hear mindset change. You're going to hear lifestyle and mindset change, but there's no real there. It's a word. Who's got I'll ask you this and you can tell me. Anyone, please answer this if you've got any answer at all. I'm going to challenge all of you. So I got whatever, look, it's 80 people here with everyone streaming. If you wanted to learn how to change your mindset in order to be a thin, healthy person, your mindset-based approach, let's just stick with that. Who would you study? Who is the guru? Who's the nationally known, most famous 1, 2, or 3, however many you can name? Who is the mindset person who you would study to learn how to lose weight? Or what program? What program would you study? What is it? Where would you learn how to shift your mindset so you could be thin and healthy? I bet no one can name. I bet I don't see a single thing. If I see something, I'm not going to say it because if it comes up, it'll come up. But I know I get 1 or 2 names sometimes. And if they come up, I'll talk about them. But so anyways, back to your point, Gia. Yes, folks, I say this to all of you because where I get to with my clients are really smart and they're very action oriented. So they have tried lots and lots and lots of things by the time they get to me. And what happens is, and I bet you can all relate to this, right before my clients kind of work with me, they're in a state of apathy because, it's not trying a diet and it not working that's the most frustrating. It's when you do a diet and really commit to it and lose the weight and then put it back on. Most clients, it's a couple of times they can do that before they get completely apathetic. Because what happens is when you lose a bunch of weight and then put it back on, you start to associate that even when I lose weight, I fail. You see what I mean? And so when you start to create that, you're in a real tough spot. But here's the answer. So I know most of you are in this spot. I know most of you think about weight loss 24 hours a day. You're constantly thinking about it, but you're not doing anything to make it happen. That's a state of apathy. And one of the core reasons that you are in this fixed state of apathy is because you believe the only way to lose weight that you're willing to do is to diet. You're not willing to do the injections. You're not willing to do the surgery. You're only going to diet, but subconsciously you associate dieting with absolute failure, and you've got the proof to prove it. So how do you get motivated again? How do you believe that it's possible to change your weight? This is the big question. And the answer I would say is that you stop fucking dieting. Stop dieting, okay? And make a real commitment to change how you think, live, and eat into that of a thin, healthy person. Make the commitment that it takes. Stop following fucking shortcuts. Every diet is basically a little shortcut. You have to think about your weight and your health and the commitment it's going to take, like college. It's going to take most of us. I've been at this for over 30 years. Now, 30 years of dieting. It's not dieting. Do you understand? It's not dieting. Me, 30 years of focusing on my weight and my health is like 30 years of playing guitar. Is it miserable? Is it the same as when I started? No, I keep getting better and better. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I keep improving and evolving and growing. I love it. I love the way I think, live, and eat. I absolutely love it because it's all customized to me. Gia, when's the last time you did a weight loss plan where you customized the eating plan to you, your preferences, your lifestyle, your likes? When's the last time you tried to lose weight where you strategically shifted your lifestyle so it supported your eating choices and your weight? When is the last time you did a diet where you actually went into your mindset and learned how to motivate yourself, how to shift your identity and self-image, how to deal with your habits on a fundamental, logical, strategical level, how to manage your emotions genuinely, how to think like a thin, healthy person, literally nuts and bolts thinking, what questions to ask, what to say, how to focus on things, and maintenance. When's the last time you did a diet and you learned how to do maintenance right from day one? Well, those are the 6 categories of mindset that we go through and program yourself in. You've never done any of those. You've never strategically broken down your lifestyle and learned how to implement the habits that support you. You've never learned how to structure your eating built around you in a way that really feels comfortable and easy. You've never done any of those things. So the way you stay motivated is you start doing something different. You can't do something that you failed at 50 times and then get motivated. It's going to work. That doesn't make any sense. So if you're sitting here thinking about weight all the time, you can't get yourself to do anything. And every time you think about a diet, you just get discouraged. Stop dieting. It's not rocket science. And so again, I give you a bunch of free shit. If you click the link in my bio or you go to programyourselfthin.com, I give you a free hypnosis session. I give you a free video training I made. I'm creating a whole community app. Will it be open this way? I got a little distracted because I'm working on my Gym AI because I'm going to give you access to that too. Okay. So I know I talked about Circle community last week. I was getting ready to do it this week. And then I'm like, I'm tweaking. I have some AI stuff in there and it doesn't matter. But again, the point being that I'm going to give you a bunch of free shit to help you really get control of your weight. Because for me, this is my mission. This is what I do. Because to me, weight is life and death. I started this whole thing. My dad died at 54 of a heart attack. I was 9 years old. So for me, this is not just about looking good. I want you to look good. I want you to wear the bathing suit to the beach and wear your skinny jeans. I want you to do all that shit too. But I also, more importantly, want you to live as long as you can. And I want you to have the best quality of life while you're here. It's literally life and death to me. It's my mission. And so I give you all this free stuff. And my main message to you is that dieting doesn't work. I mean, Christ, it's open and shut. Again, you tell me a diet that works. Go ahead. Long term. I'm not arguing that you can do a diet and lose some weight in the short term, obviously. I'm not long term. And so if you're serious about your weight, you've got to start a new approach. Again, the thing I always say, with with get rich quick schemes, you recognize it because you have a comparison to it. You know what a get rich quick scheme is, and you know what the traditional way of making money is you go and get some skill somehow through experience, through school, through trainings, and you create some value that you can offer the world and you get compensated. Okay. That's the traditional way of money. And then we got get rich quick schemes. But with weight loss, all you have is the get rich quick scheme. You literally in your mind don't even have a concept of how you would genuinely change your weight long term. That's crazy to me. So anyways, Kitsy says, I've lost it and then gained it all back after I hit my goal. My reward was to eat whatever again. I get it, Kitsy. I get it. And you are literally the type of person, the people I'm here for the most, because I'm here every day, Monday through Friday for free. This, again, when I tell you it's my mission, I mean it's my mission. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, to help you all out. And the main people that I'm really here for, because the people that really like affect me the most are the people that do put the effort and work and lose the weight and then put it back on. You know, those are the people I feel so bad for. It's like, that's what I'm here for. You know, and again, I say to you, like, I genuinely mean it. I believe this to my heart, that it's not your fault. I believe you've never learned how to genuinely shift your weight. I think you've learned how to dramatically change your behavior for a little while to lose weight, but I don't think you've learned how to shift from the inside out into a thin, healthy person. I know you've never learned that, you know? And I see Joanne wrote Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, again, you know, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger's, a lot of stuff he says, but the point is, you know, what I do is I spent my career studying and helping people that were overweight and struggling with food and weight to become thin and healthy long term. And it all started by studying people that struggled with their weight and lost it for at least 2 years. And I modeled these people. I would interview them. I would talk to them. I would study them. I'd ask them what they thought, what went on. I'd ask all these details about it. That's literally where the program came from. That's what makes me different, though, because everyone else in diet world is just studying, how do you lose weight that fast? That's all dieters care about, is how can I lose weight as fast as possible. I was fixated on how can I keep it off for as long as possible. And it's fascinating when you talk to people who have lost weight long-term for at least 2 years, they don't talk like dieters at all. It's night and day. As a matter of fact, that's kind of that equivalency of like a get rich quick scheme and someone who genuinely, you know, made money, you know? And that's what it's like when you talk to people who've lost weight and kept it off for at least 2 years, they speak about it very differently than dieters do. It was shocking at first when I started doing this, but everything I'm talking about is built on that philosophy. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger is great. But I mean, this guy is literally the outlier of outliers. How the fuck are you going to relate to Arnold Schwarzenegger? He's literally Mr. You know, all he does is work out. This is a big problem I see in the world, because I see a lot of people like learning from people they're nothing like. Again, this is why I try to be here. You know, like I you know, like you're watching Jillian Michaels, like her whole life is working out. You ain't her. You know, like David Goggins, right? I'm not David Goggins. I don't want to listen to what he's saying. I'm not him. I don't want to be him. I'm nothing like him. Why would I learn from him? What's he going to tell me? I'm not him. Arnold Schwarzenegger? You ain't Arnold Schwarzenegger. What's he got for you? Not to say he doesn't have a couple ideas that are fine, but how is he going to help you go from being out of control with food and weight and all the rest of it to being in control? You know what he's going to tell you? You just got to do it. You just got to do it. You just got to want it. You know, it's the same bullshit. And that's what you get constantly with weight loss teaching, is you just got to want it more, which is another way to say that it's your fault. And that is the core reason I'm here in a nutshell, because I find, and it's funny, I was talking about this the other day, I'm into cults now because I was watching a cult documentary. But one of the things I found out about cults is that they get the people in the cults, they like when things aren't working, they never blame the cult. They blame themselves for not working the program enough. And that's straight out of dieting, folks. Again, dieting is not your friend. Dieting is it may be, I don't want to be too dramatic here, but it is one of the biggest psychological operations ever put on people. It's bullshit. And it's cult thinking, because when the diet doesn't work for you folks, who do you blame? Right? Kitsy, who did you blame, right? When you started eating and you put the weight back on, who did you blame? You blame yourself, right? You always blame yourself. It's not the diet. Jim, I know what I need to do. I just need to get myself to do it. Oh yeah. What do you got to do? Well, we got to stop eating carbs. That's it. That's all you got to do. You know what I mean? That's like saying, oh, I don't know how to play the piano, but it's easy. Oh, it is? What do you got to do? Well, you just hit the right notes at the right time, the right order, and you got sweet music. Okay. Well, going from that description to actually being able to play a song is a big old gap. And you dieters having this general idea what to do and actually being able to do is the huge gap for you. So Arnold Schwarzenegger telling you what he eats or how he works out or, like some little mantra he says to himself. Again, not that it's not helpful, but it's not going to be very helpful for you because you ain't Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that's the main point I'm trying to say. Arnold Schwarzenegger's not helping anyone go from being overweight to thin. But I appreciate Joanne, you throwing something out there. Joanne says, yesterday I had an extra piece of bread and I feel like I cheated. Yeah, exactly. I know that. That's again, that you see what I mean though, that the dieting thing, it's very cult-like because every time something goes wrong, it's always your fault, and program yourself then. So much of it's built to get you out of that idea because, okay, so I ate a piece of bread, right? So for example, by the way, dieting is really built around the idea that you're going to start your diet and be 100% perfect, right? It's an all or nothing mindset. And so, yeah, if you make a mistake, there's nowhere to go from there. Program yourself thin is all built around literally the program yourself thin technique, the rehearsal technique. And basically it's a technique you use in part to reflect on your mistakes and get back on track from them. That's, in my opinion, that's the most important skill of living at your goal weight, getting there and then living there. I believe the most important skill is the ability to get back on track quickly after you made a mistake. You don't need to be perfect to lose weight. Diets make you think that, which is why you always feel like you're walking a tightrope with a diet. Because the second you make a mistake, you're totally off. Because again, yeah, you have an extra piece of bread. Now you feel guilty and you feel like you cheated. You feel bad. What do you think those feelings are going to lead? Do you think those feelings lead to better eating or worse eating? So again, I get it, Joanne. I get it. Bridget said, thanks for the great help. You're welcome. Yeah. And says, you're so right. Love hearing your advice. Well, I'm glad. That's what I'm here for, right? That's what I'm here for. Oh, yeah. Karen says, yeah, it's so aggravating to follow a plan all day and then blow it in the evening. Yeah, I get it. What's up, Vicky? Vicky finally caught alive. Nice. Yeah, I started a little late, so I guess it all worked out. Bridget said, when I was in my 40s, I had 2 separate doctors tell me that I couldn't lose on the best I could to maintain. Not sure what that means, but doctors don't know shit about weight loss. Okay. Just so we all know. All right. So, unless they're just personally interested in it, doctors don't know anything more about weight loss than you do, which is why every time you go to the doctor overweight, what do they say? Hey, you should think about losing weight. How? Oh, you should eat better and exercise. Oh my God. That is absolutely useless. That's not going to help you lose weight at all. So doctors don't know shit about weight loss. Just remember that. All right. So don't take what they say about weight too seriously. Even the guy, I was reading a book by a doctor, a smart doctor. He went to the best schools, and he was a literal gastric bypass doctor. And he talked. He didn't know shit about weight loss in the beginning. About doing gastric bypasses. Now, what's up, Christine? Christine had the gastric bypass. So where are you at? Where are you at? Have you kept the weight off? How you feeling? Gastric bypass is scientifically the most effective way so far. I mean, the GLP ones probably, but they just haven't been around long enough to really study them. But gastric bypass is the most effective intervention long-term, more than the lap band, right? The gastric bypass changes things hormonally and all the rest of it. But again, very, very intense operation, and it's not 100%, you know what I mean? So it is kind of crazy. Deb says, fasting up or down? I mean, again, I have no problem with fasting if it's part of a big strategy, but fasting in and of itself, I don't think there's going to be much chance you're going to succeed with it. Again, if you can't shift your mindset, I don't know how you're going to succeed with any of it. If you've been struggling with your food and eating and lifestyle and thinking for 50 years, how did you just start tomorrow because it's Monday just thinking totally different? Like, I don't understand. That's like the diet trance you're in. Like, it's literally like a trance. Trust me, I'm a hypnotist. You're in a diet trance. It's not even logical what you think about weight loss and dieting. It makes no sense that you've been out of control with your weight and your eating your whole life. Just because tomorrow's Monday, you're just going to perfectly stick to a plan starting tomorrow without changing anything else. It's literally, it's childlike. I mean, don't take that wrong, and here's Mira. Mira says, I got gastric sleeve surgery for binge eating, so it can help me change my habits. It's not going to help you change your habits. That's the thing. I've worked with a lot of gastric lap band people, and a lot of them put the weight back on, So again, you get so desperate that we'll do that. But uh, yeah, okay. So Christine, gastric bypass, still overweight. Yes, again, and that's an intense operation too, So again, I honor Christine, I honor your commitment and your action taking. I respect everyone on this journey, folks. So, I don't ever want to sound like I'm being an asshole. I'm saving being an asshole for the diets themselves, not the dieter. I just want to make that crystal clear. I get out here just to, again, I don't blame any dieter for doing what they do. How would you know? You know what I mean? I want to do this for a long time. I've wanted to help people. I went through my own transformation. I dropped 50 pounds over 30 years ago. And it was so important to me for my own quality of life. And then obviously my dad, thinking about him, that this is literally where I ended up. This is what I want to do. And I remember over 20 years ago, I'm like, I want to help people get their weight under control. Let me go study a system and teach it. That's what I want to do. I'm a lazy person, believe it. And so I look around, I didn't see anything. You know what I mean? So I have painstakingly created this process literally over 30 years. And there was no one person. I study everything. I study nutrition. I study hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, psychology, personal development. I mean, literally like everything. I write 50 books a year. And so I just read, trying to get all this information to create a system that's really going to help you change. Because I know people out there are taking action and really doing everything they can to do this, but they're never, again, you get gastric bypass and you think that's going to change your habits. Why would it change your habits? It could make it easier because you may not be as hungry. You may not be able to eat as much as you did, but why would it change your habits? You know what I mean? Until you learn how to change your own habits again and program yourself. Then when you learn the program yourself then technique, that's to take control of your mind. That's ground floor, baby. Like if you can't influence your thinking and your brain, how are you going to change your behaviors and your results ultimately? How? So even if we do these drastic things physically, inject ourselves, cut our stomach off, shrink our stomach, whatever. It's like you still haven't changed this up here. And you can. That's the thing. You can change it very powerfully. And that is another thing. And again, we're seeing it here is that I don't think people realize that even when you get the gastric bypass or the sleeves, it doesn't guarantee success. Obviously, I'm biased because I get people that have done these things and it didn't work for them, and then I start working with them. You see what I'm saying? So I have no question that I have a bias, a negativity bias with those things because I see the times it doesn't work. Okay. But my point to you is that it's not a cure-all. It's not a guarantee. Neither is the injections. If the injections work for you, great. But if they don't work for a lot of people and they only work for 16 months for weight loss, and this is something most people don't know. And, right around December of this year, we're going to start to see the masses hit that 16-month mark. And then it's going to be very interesting to see what happens for two reasons. First, the people that haven't gotten to their goal weight yet, because that's it. That's where you're at. That's what these studies have shown. All of them, all the GLP-1s, doesn't matter. Mounjaro, Ozempic, doesn't matter. Wegovy, they are all showing the same thing, 16 months and then static. And then you got to stand that shit forever to maintain that. So obese people are getting on this stuff, getting down to overweight and can't lose any more weight. And then other than that, then it's going to start to dawn on people, I got to be on this forever, injecting myself with this. And when the weight loss stops, I'm curious to see how people feel about this. I'm just curious. I think it's easier to inject yourself and fork over all that money when the scale's going down. And I think once this is it, this is life, and you got to keep forking that over and you got to keep popping yourself with that. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens with it. So, yeah. Vicky says, you talked about yourself eating the same food to keep your weight down. Can you explain? Yeah, I eat the same stuff. Now, listen, that's a superpower for me. So I want to crystal clear state the golden rule of program yourself. Then there's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. Okay. That is the golden rule. And so that's why I don't tell you what to eat. In Program Yourself Then, I take you through a process to help you create your own structured eating plan built around you, your lifestyle, what you do. But for me personally, and I think for everyone, the more simplistic you make your eating, the more structured you make it, the better. Now, we still take into account variety. Okay. Don't freak out. Right. But it's a scale. It's a spectrum. And, again, the more variety you have in your diet, the harder it is to get control of it. And the less variety you have, the easier it is for a number of reasons. So for me personally, I have clean and pleasure days, and they're structured a bit differently, and what I eat in them is different. But there's a format to it. And so I have a plan that I follow. And so every week I have days where I'm eating clean, which is really to fuel my body. That's the focus. And then I have days of pleasure that are really about fun and more enjoyment from the foods. And I have both of them. And that, I think that's really important. So again, I love the foods. They're all foods I like, and they're foods that keep me at my goal weight. So again, for me personally, like I don't want to count my calories forever. I think that's crazy. But what I do is I have a eating patterns, I would say. So Monday through Friday, I pretty much eat the same breakfast every day. I pretty much eat the same lunch Monday through Thursday. I have different dinners, but the dinners tend to be very similar week after week, right? So like, again, I don't know, Tuesday's taco, Mexican night, Wednesday, it'd be something else. So it's just like, it's the same stuff over and over though. You know what I mean? In that way. And it lowers the cognitive load. You can't be thinking about, it's estimated to make over 200 food decisions a day. So a big focus for me is to reduce that down. I don't want to spend my mental energy making food decisions all the time. I mean, sometimes I do, but not all the time. So if you have more questions on that, but ask them. Yeah, Regina, yes. Nothing makes me want to binge like a diet. Exactly. Dieting, I will tell you, I think I'm going to write about this in a book. I'm going to make a whole book about this because I'm fascinated by this concept. But as a hypnotist, just take it or leave it, believe me or don't. But as a person who understands subconscious communication, I believe diets are created and designed to get you to overeat. And I will just give you a quick example of what I mean. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand negatives. Okay. And so if I tell you right now, try not to think about what I'm saying. Okay. Get ready. Get your willpower ready. Don't think about what I'm about to say. Don't think about a banana. Don't think about a banana. Do not think about a banana. Right. And you're thinking about a banana. Okay. So now on the surface, I'm telling you not to think about it. What are you doing? What are you, dummy? Are you stupid? I told you not to think about it, but I know you're going to think about it. Okay. So now let's go to a diet. What's a diet do? What do you do when you start your keto diet? What do you try not to think about? Right? You try not to think about and eat carbs. What's that do? Makes you think about it more. And pretty much any diet you think about, right? Intermittent fasting, tell me you're not thinking about eating, from 10 to 12. You go on, Weight Watchers, tell me you're not thinking about points and desserts and, you know what I mean? Like, so again, diets are so cruel because they literally subconsciously focus you on the exact thing you're trying to reduce and get some distance from. Again, it's cruel. These diets are literally cruel and they're meant to be cruel. You could never convince me otherwise. Because these companies, see, you don't know. I've studied this stuff so much. These companies are so big and so powerful. I mean, they are billion dollar companies. As an example, Frito-Lay. Okay. You don't think about like Frito-Lay is just one out of a million companies. Okay. But Frito-Lay has a campus down in Texas. And one of the things they have at this campus is a $40,000 chewing machine that finds the perfect pounds per square inch that's most satisfying and releases the most dopamine in your brain. So this is what you're up against. Do you know what I mean? So when they say, I bet you can't eat just one, I mean, like that's not a fair bet. They're not just taking a potato, slicing it up and frying it. Do you know what I mean? They literally got a team of chemists and biologists studying crunches and with a fucking $40,000 chew machine, which by the way, that thing paid dividends, didn't it? Because now, the new popular thing in the snack world, the poppables, right? Have you noticed those things? I see my kids get that shit. They I don't really eat that shit. Again, when you look behind the curtain and you see the real Oz, you know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of the mystique out of the foods and the bullshit. But yeah, so my kids, they got Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its has a snap. I don't know how you say it. Snap right? SNAP apostrophe D, however you say it. And it's just like this airy crunch thing. And now I see they all got it, right? Because they all copy each other. And so that $40,000 machine, what a return on investment. But again, the point being that it's way beyond what you're thinking. And the diet's the same thing. I know that they're just pushing the same shit. All the diets, again, are just a branch of the food company. Can a hypnosis help me think like a Jillian Michaels? No, I don't believe so. You ain't Jillian Michaels. You know what I mean? Like that's a mistake of hypnosis. I think a lot of people think hypnosis can just turn you into another person or something like that. But no, I mean, again, you're always using hypnosis too, by the way, folks. Hypnosis isn't some crazy weird thing. You experience hypnosis every single time you watch a TV show or a movie, right? What are you doing? You're imagining the scenario you're watching on the screen and you're experiencing it. So if you're watching a horror, you're nervous. If you're watching a comedy, you're laughing. If you're watching a drama, you're sad. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just a way to use your mind to influence yourself. That's all. And so I can't hypnotize you to be Jillian. I could hypnotize you to talk like Jillian Michaels for a minute, but I can't hypnotize you to be Jillian Michaels. You ain't Jillian Michaels. You're Karen. Well, be Karen. You don't be Jillian Michaels anyways. Just Jay said, my doctor tried to give me phentermine when I said I wanted to lose weight, which is basically just prescription speed. Yeah, again, doctors don't know. I mean, it's just, again, doctors get a real, I love doctors. I want to make clear. I love doctors, but I think they get too much leeway. You know what I mean? Like thinking that they know everything. They don't know shit about nutrition and they don't know shit about diet unless they just have a personal interest in it. To become a doctor, you don't have to study much nutrition at all. And that's not how the medical system works. Again, I love doctors. I break my arm, I'm going there. But Western medicine is about treating the symptoms. It's not about finding the cures. And that's just the truth of it. Okay. This is why when you go and you're pre-diabetic, you better think about losing some weight, then you're diabetic. Okay, let's get you on some insulin. You're never getting, I remember my mom she was diagnosed as diabetic. And I remember the pamphlet she got, and it's basically like, it was so basic and it's like, oh, just don't eat white food. And it's like, they're not educating us. You know what I mean? Like there's so much money, folks. There's so much money made off of you eating bullshit and being overweight and unhappy. It's literally, it's the big engine that drives the economy. I swear it is. And so between the money they make off of literally just the food, off the diets, you trying to lose it, off the medicines they sell for you dealing with the symptoms and the effects of all the food and the overeating, the psychological stuff that comes from being depressed about it. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and so again, you being overweight, unhealthy, and unhappy is probably the biggest profit driver of this whole system, Deb said, I thought the point was to start thinking differently. Fast once a week has helped get rid of food noise. Oh, that's great, Deb. Yeah. So when food's off the table on fasting days, then it's off the table. Lets my body rest and reboot. Yeah. I mean, I don't, I intermittent fast, you could call it that. I go, there's intermittent fasting, Nazis about it that would get mad at me for saying that because I only do it for 13, 14 hours. Luckily for me, I came up with intermittent fasting on my own 30 years ago. Because the very first habit I went to work on was my nighttime snacking habit. And it just turned into, I stopped eating earlier, usually around 6, 7, and then I don't eat the next day until 7, 8. And so I naturally just stop eating. And that's been one of the greatest things in the world. Yes, taking food off the table and giving your body some time to rest, your mind some time to rest, I think is wonderful. Intermittent fasting by itself, I don't think is going to help you. Because I don't think again, you have to understand the diet industry is built around the one thing concept, because dieting is just marketing. And the one thing concept is that they know you're overwhelmed and tired. So they have to make the diet seem as simple as possible. So they build it around one thing, right? Even keto is just stop eating carbs. Oh, that's it. That's all I got to do. But the flip side of just stop eating carbs is completely eat differently than you do. Do you know what I mean? And so again, you can look at all the diets. It's always just one thing. Just don't eat for 16 hours. Just count your points. Just track your calories. Just cut down to 1,000 calories. It's always one simple sounding thing. But in my opinion, you need a holistic, comprehensive approach to mastering your weight. And I believe it's got to be mindset, lifestyle, and eating. I think you need to learn how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. I think, and if you do, you become a thin, healthy person, folks. That's the other piece I will tell you. As a dieter, notice how you have no faith that it's going to work. You have no faith that it's going to work because it's not a plan, folks. It's not a system. It's a tactic. And what you're going to do is you'll do it for as long as you can keep yourself doing it. Then you'll stop. And then you'll have nothing else to do because you're all or nothing. Program yourself thin's a whole system. And so I always say this, like, if you have no mechanical ability, no numerical ability, you could go to accounting school or mechanic school and you'll come out the other end an accountant or a mechanic. It doesn't matter how much aptitude you have in the beginning. If you go through the classes and learn and do the work, you're going to come out the other end as that thing. And that's how I think of program yourself thin. If you learn the nuts and bolts, how to think like a thin person, thin, healthy person, how to live like a thin, healthy person, how to eat like a thin, healthy person, and you systematically work to install that, you learn how to run your mind, you have a support system that helps you with all that. It's I don't know, like you don't have that in your mind. There's no concept of how you could commit to something and genuinely believe you're going to end up the other end being able to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life. That's really scary, because you have spent so much time, energy, and probably money too on losing weight, that the truth is that if you're really honest with yourself, you, after all these years of studying and thinking about weight loss, dieting, all this stuff, you don't know anything more about how to live at your goal weight now than you did before you started your first diet. And that should be shocking for you. And hopefully it's enough to motivate you to go get the hypnosis session I give you and watch the video I made for you. It's not just about hypnosis. It's not like you just listen to my hypnosis session and become a different person. The hypnosis session's a supplement to the main program. You go through the blueprints, the mindset blueprint, lifestyle blueprint, eating blueprint. You fill them out. And this becomes the blueprint, the roadmap you follow to get to your goal weight and live at your goal weight. It's customized to you. It's a one size fits one plan built for you. And then you learn the program yourself 10 technique. How do you run your own brain? You've never learned this. You have no idea how to run your own brain. How are you dealing with that negative voice in your head? Do you think you need to? Or are you just going to ignore it? You can't, but that negative voice in your head is the main thing running your behaviors right now. And you have no idea how to deal with that negative voice, that mean voice in your head. So I don't give a shit what plan you want to do. How are you going to change the voice in your head? Or what does it matter? I think it does. Just Jade said, this guy on TikTok has almost sold me on alternate day dirty fasting. He isn't selling anything and swears it's all we need to do. Kind of extreme though, I know. Go ahead and do it. I don't give a shit. Go do the dirty fasting. I don't care. Everything's about just some fucking goofy name, and I don't care. All you need to do, the second you hear someone say all you need to do, I run for the hills. I'll be one of the few weight loss people that says no. If you're not willing, and again, by the way, program yourself thin's not even for most people. So I don't even give a shit. I'm not here to sell the program. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you get the program or not, because it's not even for most people. It's for a very specific people. My clients are overthinkers, type A-ish type people, perfectionisty type people, action takers. They are the one listen to podcasts, doing stuff, doing. So it's people that are willing to commit and do the work. They've usually gone to school, they study stuff, they like reading. These are my people. Because guess what? It's going to take work. There's nothing, It's like, God, you got to stop being seduced by the bullshit claims. But maybe it works. Just go try it out and report back. I love to hear about it. But if it has no mindset component, has no lifestyle component, has no real long-term strategy for how to change your eating, I don't think any trick's ever going to help you folks. And I think most people are going to spend their whole lives at this point chasing diets and never getting the results they want, instead of just making the commitment to just figure it out and do it one time. Again, that's why I think of it like college. College is hard. And so it's like you do it and it's like, but you end it. And it's like you got all this knowledge and wisdom and you got this whole base of knowledge now for the rest of your life that you can build on. But I find most dieters, they just don't want to put the work in. They just always trying to look for hacks. Dirty fasting. I would love that. Alternate day dirty fasting. That's so funny. And I don't even care. It might be the greatest idea though. I've never even heard of it. So it's like, I'm at the point now where I'm just like immediately so cynical of every goofy name thing, because I know that's what they do. Dirty fasting is a variation of intermittent fasting that allows for a small number of calories during the fasting window, typically under 100 calories. That difference from clean fasting. Yeah. Again, Like, we always put these goofy names on it. It becomes that. See, once again, though, it's a tactic, isn't it? It's one tactic. All you need to do is this one tactic. Yeah. You let me know. Let me know what tactic works. Now there's always tactics always work for some people, and especially for a little while, because that's what the diet industry is built on. I did dirty fasting and I lost 20 pounds in a month. That's what you're always hearing. As soon as I hear that, I say, but how long have you been doing it for? So if I've been doing dirty fasting. I've lost 20 pounds. How long? It's been 2 months. I've lost 20 pounds in 2 months. Okay. That's great. How long are you going to do it for? I'm going to do it forever. Okay. Can you give me a call back in 6 months? Let me know how it's going. Can you give me a call back in a year? Let me know how the dirty fasting's going. That's what I'm curious about, and I never get those people back, because that's the main problem, is maintaining. So one tactic ain't going to do it for most people. Don't mean to sound negative, but I'm just sharing what I've seen. But Just Jade, give it a shot and try it and see how it goes. Deb says, on eating days, I'm learning that it feels better to eat whole foods. Yes, it does feel better to eat whole foods. Yes, that's super. Karen says, oh my gosh, it is an adult education program. Yes, it is an adult education program. I agree. Deb says, where's the hypnosis session? If it's dirty, it's not a fast. But there we go. And Deb, no offense, okay? But this is what I mean. This is what happens. This is why people, I don't even say I'm intermittent fasting. I don't want to be associated with that. And not that I have any problems with it, but what I hate is it's the diet mentality being so strict. And that is the number one thing that shows diets don't work, is the rigidity of a diet is really proof for how quickly it's going to fail ultimately. But again, if it's dirty, it's not a fast. You know what I mean? And by the way, there's no magical thing that happens the last 2 hours of your fast. Nothing magical happens in your body the last 2 hours of the fast. You burn a lot more calories, or no, that's bullshit. Bullshit. It's bullshit they just sell you. So dirty, anyways, I hate strict, rigid things with a passion. So no, I Deb, I'm glad it's working for you. But again, this is what happens is Deb's real strict with it on that day. If it's dirty, it's not fasting. And again, things get real, and then you feel bad if now I bet Just Jade's like, oh no, I guess it's not real. You know, now it's like, well, that's not really fasting. And it becomes like you start beating yourself up saying, oh, this isn't really fasting because you're eating 100 calories. And it's, oh boy, dieting. Nah, good luck, folks. Good luck, folks, with the dieting. Again, I'm not on a diet at all. Like I tell you, like, and I screw up all the time. I had a bagel sandwich and a donut for breakfast this morning because it was a weird day. I took my kid out kayak fishing. We went out. It was just a weird Thursday for me. Every Thursday, I pretty much have the same breakfast. Today was weird and it went a little different. It won't throw my shit off at all. I'll get off here in about 2 seconds. I'm going to go eat a salad, you know? So again, that diet mentality of the rigid, the one day, again, no offense, Deb, but again, I would love to hear in 6 months, a year, let me know how the one day intermittent fasting's going, you know? No offense. I don't mean to bust your chops, but I got to, because again, you're bringing some diet energy into this, even though it's intermittent fasting or it's a one-day fast or whatever it is. And again, if it works for you, great. So don't listen to what I'm saying either, but don't listen to Deb either if you don't like that idea, Just Jade. Okay. We got to stop listening to other people and do what feels right for us. That's my big message. Deb says, where's the hypnosis session? The hypnosis session, if you click the link in my bio, I'll throw this things. I see you're on Facebook, so I'll just put this link up and you can go get it. But if you're on most of the things, you can just tap on my picture or my profile and there's a link right to it. Otherwise, you can just go to programyourselfthin.com and you can navigate to it. You can go to programyourselfthin.com/hypno and it'll be there. Just Jade said, now I'm scared to talk about it. He said less than 500 calories on fasted day, normal eating other days. He says we are biologically wired not to eat for days, etc. But don't get mad at me. I'm not mad at you at all. Again, I don't care. Go try it. You know what I mean? Like I will never tell you not to do stuff. I think the more things you try, the better, you know? But I think what you're going to find is the more things you try that are diety are going to bring you right to the realization that none of these things work. And I think you're going to find that plan is going to work out for you the same way all the other diets did. But go test it out. I will not get mad at you. So please let me know how it's going. Okay. But yeah, I mean, again, I can tell you my experience. Now, again, I'm just me. So I played around with fasting. Folks, I was a raw food vegan for a little while. So I know what it's like to do extreme shit. And I did a number of master cleanses and fasts. And for me personally, fasting was extremely stressful. When I would fast, I dreaded it when it was coming. I hated it when I was doing it. And I was super hungry after I finished it. And so that was my experience. That's not yours. Great. Okay. But for me, it wasn't working. And so I stopped doing it. And I think for most people, the idea of, eating 500 calories, biologically wired not to eat. First of all, yeah, we're biologically wired for all sorts of shit because we evolved biologically in a food scarce environment. We biologically evolved in an environment that doesn't exist anymore. We're in an alien environment now where we're surrounded by hyper palatable, hyper addictive foods. So yeah, if I stuck you out in the woods, you could not eat for a couple of days. You'd be fine. If I stuck you in a supermarket, you ain't not going to eat for a couple of days. It's gonna be a lot harder. So again, knock yourself out. I hate fasting. And again, I have a 12 to 14 hour window at night where I don't eat, and call that fasting if you will, but a whole day of not fasting for me, I don't like it. So if you don't like it, folks, I guess what I'm saying is you don't have to do that. You can build the secret. I think the secret to mastering your weight is to build your plan around what feels good for you. And everyone's different. So Deb's over here loving fasting one day. Great. Do that. Just Jade's thinking, well, I'll play with the 500 calories. Test it out. See how you feel. You might do it. You might do it, Jade. And you might be like, holy shit, this feels really good. I feel really good doing the 500 calories. This is amazing. You go to bed, sleep great, and look forward to doing it again. Great. This is what I'm saying. I'm not even opposed to the diet philosophies. I pull from all the diet philosophies to create my own one size fits one plan for me. That's why I don't tell you what I do, folks, because in Program Yourself Thin, I walk you through a process for you to figure out what you want to do. I say this all the time, that the diet idea that this one size fits all approach is so crazy. The idea that you're going to start a diet where someone's telling you like what to eat. Like, come on, man, you're an adult human being. Don't let someone tell you how you're going to eat. Like, what's next? You're going to look for someone to tell you what movies to watch, what music to listen to, what kind of clothes to wear. Like, you're a human being. Be yourself. Be you. And eat the foods you want to eat. Now, you got to moderate them and structure them and engineer that eating so it works for the weight you want to be at too. You don't have to give up any foods. You can figure out how to eat that works for you. And you've just never learned how to do that. Most dieters in the process now, just tell me what to do. I always use the example, as a Dan Kennedy thing, that most dieters are walking around with their umbilical cords out looking for somewhere to plug it into. And it's like most dieters, that's why I say Program Yourself Thin is not for most dieters, because most dieters don't want to think. They don't want to do the work. They just want the quick, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Right? You believe that. I don't know how you believe it if I told you what to do. Like if I printed out what I eat in a week and I said, oh, here's gym diet. And I said, here you go, just follow this. You really think it would work for you? Why would that be any different than other diet you've done? The dieting is basically trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And when it doesn't work for you, I don't understand why it doesn't work. Because it's not for you. It ain't your plan, man. You're just going to let someone tell you how to eat for the rest of your life? No, you're not. No, you are not. But at the same time, just Jade, I would say go play around with it. Go test it out. Don't get stressed about it. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just test it out. Do a dirty fasting day. See how it feels. And then take it from there. And says to water fast a day, you need to eat a lot of water, fruit, and veggies only the day before. Yeah, again, I mean, it's like I've done that shit, and it's like I find it very stressful. So again, some people don't. I work with plenty of people that fast regularly. Great, you know what I mean. So, but hear that philosophy, right? It's not me saying, oh, it's going to work. It's not going to work. I think it's not going to work because I don't think it's enough. I don't think just having one eating tactic is going to cure your weight. Because what about your mindset? You know what I mean? I think you're going to be stressed doing that, but whatever, maybe you won't be. So go play with it and then bring it back here. And I promise I won't be mad. Yeah, you like that. Regina likes the umbilical cord. I love that too. I think it's so appropriate for sure. I'm sorry, at TikTok, I've kind of missed a lot of questions. I apologize if I missed your questions. This is live. I know some people think I get caught up and I miss the question sometimes. Sue says, I'm new here. What's the short summary of your plan or help? I mean, I guess the simple thing is it's basically, it's kind of 3 parts. Program Yourself Thin is 3 parts. Number 1 is the blueprints. You need to know what to do. Okay. And knowing what to do is not saying don't eat carbs. That's not enough. I mean, you need a real strategic plan for what to do, how to think, how to live, how to eat like a thin, healthy person. So we got the goal weight blueprints, right? Literally your roadmap for how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person, customized to you. That becomes your what to do. Then there's the Program Yourself Thin technique, the rehearsal technique, which shows you how to get yourself to do it. So you need to know what to do and you need to be able to get yourself to do it. This is the biggest missing piece of the puzzle for most dieters. You have no idea how to run your mind to actually get yourself to do what you know you should do. And so the Program Yourself Thin technique shows you how to run your own mind. It's a simple, 60-second self-hypnosis exercise you use at night to kind of program your mind. And then you need support. I think everyone needs support. If you're going to make a big change in your life, you're pretty much going to need support. And so there's multiple support systems in Program Yourself Thin, but the big one is the hypnosis system. The Goal Weight Hypnosis System is an 8-week program where every morning you get a 5-minute hypnosis session, with a different mantra. So every day it's a little different, but every day you're relaxing, calming down, breathing, centering, getting good stuff pumped in your head, then going into your day. And at night you get a 10-minute hypnosis session. Each week you get one of those and you listen to that one repeatedly. That one's 10 minutes and it has a core weight loss mantra in it. And so you're bookending your day with relaxation, calm, centeredness, and with good stuff going in your head. So by the end of 8 weeks, you've had all these things put into your mind and you start to think differently, feel differently, and behave differently. And so again, there's a lot more to the program, but that's kind of the cornerstone of it. So that you have a plan to live at your goal weight, not just to get there, but to live there for the rest of your life on near autopilot. I don't think it's enough. I don't want you to lose weight and live at your goal weight so that you're just obsessed with weight and that's all you think about, but to do it on autopilot. Okay. JD says, I've had mindless eating, binging my whole life. I'm on a GLP-1 for type 2 and so I still struggle. Okay. I appreciate you saying that because again, a lot of people think the GLP-1 is just a cure all. It's not. And again, I work with, there's a number of people in the program that are on GLP-1s using that while they learn how to run their mind and come up with a plan. So, again, JD, definitely get the hypnosis session I have and get in there. D3 Money says, can I join you on your live? Or you got to do, I just got to hit a request. All I have to do is hit accept. Accept my request or I'm leaving and telling all my cousins and aunties that are texting you right. It is funny. I am shocked. I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing this now. It feels so long. It's like 3 years I've been doing these lives every day. And the thing that surprises me the most is the lack of dipshits I get on this, So I appreciate D3 Money keeping it real. Nice. Oh, nice. Neely says, joined your program a few weeks ago and it's really helping. Nice. That's awesome. It does tend to do that, Plus, I think, the important thing to understand, again, I can't stress this enough, is, think about it now. And especially if you're over 40, let's just say, I'm just picking a random number, but it's like even if you're able to get yourself to start a diet, it's like, it's important to notice just how much you don't really believe it's going to work. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really important to recognize. And I don't think you should dismiss that feeling. I think you don't feel like it's going to work because it's not going to work. I think deep down dieters really know that it's not enough. It's not enough of a solution. And that's why I say, just get in my world. I give you so much free shit because at the very least, and that's why I get on here every day, I just want to give you a counterpoint. That's all. And once you have a counterpoint, you realize what the diets are missing, you can start to seek it out. And I don't care if you get in my program and seek it out, great. If you seek it out somewhere else, I don't care. I just want you to know and to feel and understand that dieting is not the end all. It's not the only option. Injections, surgery, those are not the only options. You can approach this in a very strategic way. If you've never done that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say to you. God damn it. Dieters, though, gonna diet. I don't know. I'll let that go today, but I'm glad you're in the program, Neil, and I'm glad it's helping. You finally got what I did. What's up, Marcy? Hey, Jim, did you ever happen to make a hypnosis session to improve posture? Oh my God, did I? I don't know. I don't even remember. I will look over some things. And if not, just remind me again, not today, because I'm about to get out of here, but remind me again what next time you pop on here. And by the way, Marcy, make sure you hop into Circle. I'm assuming you're in the Circle app. The Circle app, I'm doing some stuff behind the scenes, and I got one last big thing to work on, which is Gym AI. If you're in Circle, if you're in the program, Circle, is the app we use, the community app. And I've had agents in there, AI agents, that I've been playing around with. I think I'm going to get rid of them because they're not really doing too great. But I got Gym AI, which is really good. And I've been working on, I've kind of built it from the ground up this week. That's why I haven't opened the free section of the Circle app up yet. But again, the reason why, though, is because I'm going to give you all access to Gym AI once I get that going. Again, it's a trial kind of version of it. You know what I mean? You'll get access probably for a week or so, like full access. But it'll be really valuable. And it's literally like talking to me. So anyways, Marcy, make sure you get into Circle app if you're not in there, because that's going to become much more of a community, much more, it's going to be used a lot more in the program. And so I think it's going to be a really great point of support for you. So anyways, all right, everyone, I got to get out of here. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all your comments, your questions. They're greatly appreciated. Again, if you're not in my world, click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com. Go get the free hypnosis session. Watch the video I made for the training, 3 steps to master your weight, and read the emails and stuff I send you. I got a bunch of stuff for you. And if you like this, I'm here live every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern time. Come ask your questions. I'm happy to answer them, help you out any way I can. And what else? If you missed the live, it's also a podcast called Program Yourself Thin. Go search Program Yourself Thin on a podcast platform. You'll see it, and you'll be able to listen to it. So I see Coach there. So I'm not trying to lose weight, but have a healthy gut. Yeah, it's a great motivation. Me too. I'm always working on making my gut healthier, and I'm fascinated by that science. I think it's really, really great. So yes, good luck with that. All right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.